Hello, friends. Welcome to the New Age Comics podcast. My name is Chase Porter, and this is a bit of a last-minute whoopsies, I guess is how I would describe this episode, because it is Tuesday morning. We're here for another one, guys, another really early one. It is 3:26 a.m. in the morning on December 1st, where I'm at. And need I say more? But I hope you guys are doing swell. I will likely be a little tired throughout this episode. I don't think that will affect my enthusiasm because I'm really excited to talk about what I got in this episode today. I have a lot of really awesome comics that came out last week. Last week was ginormous. Crazy. I hated how big it was. Just because, you're killing me. But it had like 15 comics, at least for me, which is crazy. I mean, it's not the most I've ever had, but it's up there. And I think it's my max that I've done on the show. So that being said, I have a lot of comics to get through, but my day is going all right. I'm actually sore as hell right now, like all over my entire body. If some of you guys follow me on Twitter or are regular listeners of what I put out here, my buddy Ian, he is our ex-scribe at New Age Comics. He took me to the gym the other day. He murdered me. I have not been to a gym like with dumbbells and all the treadmills and equipment and stuff. I've worked out since quarantine hit, but I have not been to a gym since quarantine hit. And so I was killed because I hadn't been in 9 months. I was almost in a full body cast yesterday of soreness. My girlfriend was getting really annoyed with me because every time I would get up, I would be like, ha! Just to do anything. It was terrible. But I massaged myself a lot today, as weird as that sounds, and so I'm feeling good at 3 a.m. So it's perfect time to record a podcast episode. So enough of my rambling. For some of you who may be new here, welcome. And this show has 3 parts. I talk about what's going on in comics kind of news section, and then I get into some rapid fire reviews of everything that didn't make the top 5, and then I get into the top 5 of the week, crowning the number 1 winner, and then cascading down into what's dropping next week. But if you like what I do here, go ahead and consider subscribing or following me on whatever podcast app that I might be on. And if you want to see my musings throughout the week about comics, you can go over to my Twitter at New Age Comics Pod and join us there. I'm having a good time. But I would love to know what your favorite comic was of this last week of November 25th. Let me know what made your number 1 this week in the comments or wherever. And I would love to dish about it. But one last thing, spoiler warning, big old spoiler warning here. All comics in this episode are not safe. If it's being talked about, if I invoke the name of that comic, it's on the chopping block. I'll talk about any detail in the whole book. So if you haven't read any of these books, go read them if you do not want it spoiled for you. I don't want to be the reason that you can't enjoy it fully. And so let us talk about what the fuck is happening in the world of comics.
Now look, I want the real story.
So there's been a continuation with the entire DC dropping Diamond and then joining Lunar and UCS and then dropping UCS. There's been some developments in that and the whole publisher's rigmarole saga. And the news is that DC actually, it is confirmed now, was dropped by UCS, not the other way around. For those who might not know, DC, back when quarantine started, they had decided to leave the publishing company that they had been working with for, I think, 25 years or something like that, Diamond Distributors. I think they're essentially the people that would print all their books and send them out. And they picked up this new distributing company called Lunar, and I guess they were supposed to be really good at like global distribution, as well as another company called UCS Distributors. At first, we thought that DC dropped UCS as a distributor, but no. It turns out it is the other way around. I guess the remaining contract is up for the end of the year, but DC wanted to cut their distributing margins just a little bit more, and UCS couldn't really see a way forward with that, so they pulled out. And so all direct market books from DC from here on out are going to be through Lunar Publishing, which this is kind of some shit. By next Sunday, retailers will be wanting to stock DC books in North America, and they're going to have to account with Lunar this time around, whether they want to or not. Man, I guess this whole like publishing saga has been just a whole thing. DC has been really struggling here with landing, I guess, just like a solid publisher that is going to fulfill all their needs and be able to accommodate for everything that they send out, but simultaneously not put too much strain on that publisher. Back when this whole breaking away from Diamond Publishing thing happened, my opinion on that was I actually thought it was kind of a cool thing. I feel like Diamond sort of had a monopoly on printing comics. I mean, they kind of definitely did. And so I thought it was cool that they were kind of breaking up the monopoly. I was being quite hopeful and thought maybe that would in some way reflect onto a drop in prices for comics, or at least a stagnation at $4 for a good longer before maybe the inevitable bump to $5. But yeah, fuck monopolies. So I was all for them breaking away. But funny enough, I was talking to my local comic store owner, John. Shout out to John. And he said that he actually wished they would have stayed with Diamond because as a local comic book store owner himself, he has to communicate directly with Diamond. So he had a good relationship with Diamond where them switching over to Lunar, it became, a whole thing that he didn't all of a sudden really know these people. Apparently they didn't have great service. Like customer service. I'm not trying to disparage Lunar. This was just our small-ish town comic book store experience. But it seemed to be definitely kind of a mixed bag on the reactions. Ultimately, I think it's kind of cool that there would be a diverse market when it came to printing. And I think in the end, it could possibly have good effects for shops and consumers. Again, hopefully I am banking on a price drop. I would love to see $3 books again. That would make me just so happy. I got to experience one $3 book series way back in the day, those New Age of Heroes comics that came out. Oh, God. Was that 2018 or early 2019? But like Curse of Brimstone and Damage, those books were $3. The last $3 books that I'm aware were on the stands. But I would love to see those again. And I was hoping we'd get there with Lunar. It doesn't seem like we are, at least soon. But hey, I think the healthy competition is overall good for the market, or at least let's hope so in my non-informed economic opinion. Yeah, just to be clear, I am not an economist, so if all of that was total BS, I guess let me know and school me, please. But yeah, let's get into some of the books that did not make the top 5 reluctantly today. This last week was humongous, so I have a lot of books to get here, and I'm going to try to get through them pretty quickly here. So why not kick off with an indie book? I picked up Undiscovered Country, number 10, and I actually did like this issue quite a bit. It had a cool little war scene in this whole Unity Zone. This whole Unity Zone arc is kind of coming to a wrap up. And like I predicted in a previous episode, I was waiting for this shit to get fucked up. And the ending here, I'm pretty sure, fulfilled that. The finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier came out this last week, issue number 5, and I railed on this series a little bit in past episodes, kind of just saying it was a little boilerplate, a little yucky cucky. I'm not into the yucks, but I actually thought this issue was a lot of fun. There was really good art. The art was just popping in here. I don't know if they changed up colorists or anything. They didn't, but I see that it's Matt Mila. Shout out to Matt Mila. We always shout out the colorists here. But yeah, I like this last issue. It was a fun little brawl. Zemo was back, and that makes it cool with me. We hit the midway point of Shang-Chi with issue number 3 this week, and I actually thought this issue was pretty cool. We learned a lot about some of the other houses in this issue, like the House of the Dagger, and the sword, and like the pole or something. But I thought this issue was a lot of fun, a lot of action, and Shang-Chi is just so badass, man. I can not get enough of him. A pretty dope issue from this last week, Daredevil issue number 24. We kind of see the kickoff of this whole case here, and there were some really cool parts about it. Typhoid Mary's here. She's kicking Fisk's bodyguards' asses all over the place. Matt is running around in the Daredevil suit with a suit on, which looked pretty funny. It reminded me of Apocalypse back in the X-Men series. And this issue was a lot of fun. I really liked the art here, and the ending was definitely really crazy. I have a feeling the next issue that comes out this next week is going to make my top 5. The penultimate Action Comics issue, Action Comics 1027. This is Chapter 6, the epilogue of the House of Kent arc. And, I think this wrapped it up pretty cool. I like that they sent Red Tornado to the Phantom Zone. That was a neat little thing. Sorry for that spoiler there. But yeah, this was pretty cool. I hope that Red Tornado gets used a little bit more. And that last panel with Jimmy Olsen looking real weird was actually really funny. I don't know how I feel about this being the second to last issue of Action Comics, but I hope 1028 is a banger. We have a Black Label book here. Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn, issue number 2. I really liked the first issue. I love the Murphyverse. I think it's a lot of fun. And we get a lot of cool little updates and fill-ins for some lore here. We get to see what Harley's perspective was like the first time that Jack Napier went full Joker and was beyond the tipping point. And we also get to see Neo Joker is rooming with Poison Ivy. All lots of fun stuff, and I'm really liking this series. Long-ass title alert, Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Multiverse Who Laughs, issue number 1. Another Dark Knight's Death Metal anthology tie-in type book. This one was pretty cool. I will say it was maybe one of the least consequential ones so far. But it felt kind of like one last hurrah to just tell some fucked up stories, and there were some pretty cool ones in here. There was a story written by Patton Oswalt that I was particularly looking out for, and that one was pretty good. It was about Zaz. And then there's a Super Pets one, though, that I actually really, really liked. So if anything, just check out that Super Pets little mini in the middle, and you'll probably be satisfied. And lastly, I'm giving this my honorable mention here. Exo Manowar, issue number 2. Wow, this was a long build-up for this book, man. This was a pre-quarantine book that came out in like February or March or something and never came out again until pretty much December here as I record this. So, but I like this issue. It was a fun little follow-up. Maybe it wasn't as amazing as I expected it to be. It's not in the top 5 here, but honorable mention because it was a fun ride. And I kind of like seeing where this is going. Exo Manowar is dealing with trying to be likable and maybe a little marketable. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, now that we're done with all those shitty-ass books. Nah, I'm just playing. I liked all of those books. This week was all really good. And at 15 comics, it took me a lot of willpower to select this very exclusive, prestigious list here. But let's get into that. For my top 5 this week, I am giving the number 5 spot to Doctor Doom, issue number 9. This is written by Christopher Cantwell, drawn by Salvador LaRocca, and colors by Guru FX. Man, I've been loving Doom. Doom has been a series I've been constantly raving about. If you've listened to any of the episodes that feature this metal man, you heard me pretty much nerd out about it. I love the creative team. I love everything about this book. And I love how it's dissecting Doom. Specifically, I love how it's dissecting Doom and giving us a view inside his head. Like, he's narrating the story. He's the main character. It's all about him. And God, I mean, it's just the best way to do this kind of series. I love the new turn that this Doom run has taken as of the last issue, where Doom is vowing to do good and be completely altruistic. It goes back to this whole thing that's been going on with Kang the Conqueror. He's coming from the future, telling Victor that he is going to bring peace to the world. And Doom is kind of finally accepting this calling of his. And in the most Doom way ever, he must declare this new mindset of his by ending this black hole problem that's been occurring in this Doom book. And it's the most Doom extra way ever, but I'm loving it. And he buys an hour of airtime on each news channel. And I guess it's because he's so egotistical that after he saves mankind, he wants to give a rousing speech. But I think it's actually a really interesting plot point if you kind of stop to take a look at it. Doom is explaining his saviorship to I guess the new world at this point, kind of coming out as this new Doom. And he says he plans to repent his, I guess, sins of the past on this broadcast and recommend a sentencing for himself. And I think that's actually really, really interesting. I like that Cantwell took that turn here. But there's a particular scene that I love in the middle here where Doom and Reed, they go back and forth arguing about something. I think Reed just calls him to wish him good luck. And Doom is being such an asshole that he's not letting him wish him anything. And it turns into this whole bickering argument. And it's kind of hilarious, but it also, funny enough, perfectly kind of depicts their relationship as friends and enemies. And that Doom wants to prove himself over Reed continuously, and Reed wants to essentially just help Doom because ultimately they're old friends at the end of the day. But another cool detail is while Doom is on this space mission, he's kind of surrounded himself by all these Doombots that are his staff and crew, and he begins to kill them off at one point because they're annoying the shit out of him. And I thought that was very funny, but it also kind of represents Doom. Like, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to how layered this series is. I've mentioned all these things and how layered they are, kind of saying something about Doom's personality, and that is that he is constantly surrounding himself by himself, because the Doombots basically regurgitate his whole mindset. And Doom kind of hates it at the end of the day. He's annoyed of himself. I don't know, maybe I'm talking horse shit, but I just think this series is written super duper well. And this ending is so crazy. Although the cover here implies that everything is going to be fine, that the world isn't going to be consumed by a black hole, because at least half fine and maybe half not fine. But P.S. Before I get out of here on this Doom review, I loved this issue, but I miss Kang. Can we bring Kang back, please? Cantwell, can we bring Kang back? For my number 4 spot this week, I am giving it to an indie book, and that is The Department of Truth, issue number 3, written by James Tynion IV and drawn by Martin Simmons. The most fucked up comic on the rack is back, finally, guys. But I've really been feeling this series so far. Just the concept alone of a organization that kind of governs and controls conspiracy theories. I mean, that is a compelling enough concept to keep me reading just because I kind of want to see where the fuck that goes. And it goes without saying here, before I say anything about this issue, that the art is chef's kiss, because Martin Simmons is absolutely crazy. He is beyond a comic book artist, I would say. His art is truly works of art on each singular page. To quote my distinguished competitor, Pete LePage, at a comic book club, it is worth it for the art alone. This book, Department of Truth, is worth it for the art alone. The art is just so spectacular. But it seems like each issue of the Department of Truth is going to focus on a new conspiracy theory, and I actually think that's a really smart way to go about this, to kind of dedicate one issue at a time for one theory, and give everything its own space. And this issue, we are looking into the whole crisis actor school shooting, Sandy Hook, Alex Jones conspiracy thing. And I won't lie, guys, this issue is actually pretty fucking heart-wrenching. But, I mean, here it is on my number 4, so clearly I really loved it. But I think it's partially just so heart-wrenching, and I think this is intentional on Tynion's behalf, that this is a recent world event, like a recent wound that is still very, very raw. There's school shootings that I'm sure still occur day to day. And so to tackle that subject matter just so kind of openly was kind of just heavy. It was a really heavy issue, but it was still really profound. Talking about this kind of theory is a lot different than, talking about like the JFK assassination, which occurred in the first issue. There's just such a time gap that's just very different. But every couple pages or so, there's these kind of art pages, I guess you'd say, that aren't exactly meant to be like panels in a comic. They don't exactly represent like a sequential little story. It's just a good artistic representation of what the narration is. And those pages are all so amazing. Like they blow my mind. They incorporate so many little I guess like iconography, I think is the word. Well, just like it's talking about school shootings, so it uses a lot of pictures of guns, of corpses, of children, of American flags, of televisions, money, and all of them are just really stunning works of art. And I think this book balances these kinds of pages really well with those comic sequential pages that occur, when these ones are not. And so it just does both great. And so Martin Simmons is just amazing. And the story remains pretty complex here. And it can be a little hard to piece together at times. But what I'm picking up is that it seems that somebody is attempting to perpetuate these conspiratorial thoughts, these like big conspiracy theories, such as the whole crisis actors thing. And they're trying to provide like fake proof. I think the proof is not actually genuine. And they're trying to provide this proof to maybe those that are gullible. And I think that the way that it's explored, especially in this issue, is really cool. Basically, this company, I think called Black Hat, that is who the Department of Truth is kind of hunting down. They hand one of the mothers, the aggrieved mothers, a DVD tape playing her son's final words via a actor, I guess a child actor who looks like her son, basically making her believe that her son actually did not die, and that he was an actor. And that is a really cool concept to play with, and that kind of connects back to some of the old issues in this series, issues 1 and 2. So I digress. This series, it has a really cool story and just really amazing art. So what else could you ask for? And at the end here, we get to see the red dress woman. I mean, that's like the main mystery that I'm really wondering is what the fuck is she on and what are the X's over her eyes? But I love the plot device in this book that's like, they're Men in Black and that whole thing, which it's actually the Men in Black gets referenced in here. So I thought that was really funny. And yeah, it's just super well written. And you could just read this issue alone, issue number 3, and get a really good story out of it. So if you aren't reading this series, check out issue number 3 just to see if you dig it. And I guarantee you will. For my number 3 spot, I'm giving it to Justice League Dark, issue number 28, written by Ram V, drawn by Noel Pon, and colors by Jun Chung. I've been loving JLD. Man, it's like this is a podcast where I talk about the series that I love routinely. But I've seriously been loving this series. Just like I said, routinely. If you've been listening, you know that I am always big on this run. And here we're getting the wrap up of the whole Upside Down Man arc. And I was not expecting a finale here. This run has not really had concrete arcs like that, or at least that often. And funny enough, as I was reading this issue, it felt very finale-esque. And so I started to worry that it was actually the finale of the whole run. And I started to get really sad because I was like, no more JLD comics. What am I going to do? But anyway, the art is spectacular in this book. There's an intro splash page that's just a perfect example of that. Definitely go check that page out if you just want to look at how good the art is. And I really like the nuance that Ram V actually puts into this comic here. He adds a lot of this concept of the cost of magic, which has been kind of a running theme with Zatanna, and specifically when it comes to her relationship with her father, Zatara. And not only that, they continuously reference this scene where Zatanna resurrects this bunny, and it plays an integral role in how they actually defeat the Shadow Man. And so that was really cool. But after that defeat, I mean, the series is total finale sad boys, okay? Bobo, he owns the Oblivion Bar now, and he has a new sword. You shout out to Blue Devil, and he declares the new Myra, which is also very cool. Hey, I also have to point out there that is proof of some stuff that carried over from the Tinian run. For those that may think not a lot kind of carried into the Ram V stuff, there you go. There's a little bit. Man-Bat, he's trying to bring back Swamp Thing, who I guess is like so deep inside the molecules of the green or something that he may be back soon. Khalid is now the only Dr. Fate, sadly, and Diana is without her curse mark, and for some reason that makes her sad. I don't know why, but I think the most sad boys scene of all is the Zatanna, Zatara, Constantine scene. Oh my gosh, this scene actually was really fucking sad. It kind of tackles the idea of this cost of magic, and Zatanna learns that the cost of bringing her father back, she learns what that cost was, and then she ends up learning that to get back what she had lost by bringing her father back, she had to sacrifice her father, or what she had gained. And I mean, it's just a really well-written scene that kind of demonstrates that give and take of magic. That's the whole idea and theme of this run. And I thought it was just beautifully wrapped up into this scene. Just beautifully written. So hats tipped to Ram V there. And it almost made me shed a little tears, okay? I won't lie. Definitely my scene of the week. The way her father, tosses his hat and disappears into the door. And, Constantine comes behind with, ain't that some kind of magic? It's just, bravo, Ram V. You are a good writer. And that's just kind of it. We're just left crying, and I suppose that's fine. And the next issue is this whole endless winter stuff. I don't know if I'm actually going to be partaking in that event. I might not get it. I'm still going to get the next issue of JLD, so you might just get a very out of context, perhaps rant review when that comes around. Into my number 2 spot this week, and I'm giving it to Detective Comics 1031, written by Peter J. Tomasi, drawn by Bilquis Evely, and colors by Matt Lopes. Yet another series that I've just been loving on. Detective Comics has been a consistent one for me. And it's just fun Batman without the canon. But it still kind of includes the canon, weirdly enough. But that all being said, this is kind of the post-Joker War arc that has bats all kinds of fucked up. There's this dude named the Mirror, and he is kind of the figurehead of this subsequent anti-vigilante movement and sentiment. Damian, he has stolen the Black case book, so Batman's kind of up shit creek right now. And this issue here actually is the one that redeemed the Mirror for me. He was kind of lacking in the last issue, but he really steals the fucking show here. I love the art, specifically these like motifs that repeat with the Mirror, where his whole outfit is like reflective mirror, and when he stands like right up close to somebody, they pretty much are reflected directly into him, and it makes a lot of really cool writing moments that I just totally love. And there's also this like protest marching scene here, which is also really like topical, and I think Tomasi did it pretty tastefully. And continued to added some layers to the meaning here with the whole like pro-vigilante brawl with the anti-vigilantes that goes down. It gets very wild, and I have to say the art is super duper killer in these splash pages here. And as just a writing note, I love how Batman is really like overwhelmed right now in this detective's run. I think that's just a really cool thing to see. That he kind of can't do everything at once. Like, in fact, he has to leave right before the riot happens because he's trying to find Damian. And it's just a cool position that Batman is in. And this whole Batman Mirror confrontation, this was a fucking awesome. I will read a little bit here. Batman says that he's had enough of the city being held hostage by psychos, essentially. And I love what the Mirror says. He just says, "So have we, Batman. So have we." It's just so good. Like, Batman has essentially been playing Gestapo for the whole city. And that's this whole point of this movement. And then this whole scene ends with a, like, quote unquote Mirror's death scene. Like, first of all, that makes me sad if he did die. But if he actually did, it was a really cool death scene where he talked about becoming a martyr for this movement. And, like, when vigilantes are outlawed, I will be there, like, in spirit. It was honestly really well written, but I really hope the Mirror comes back. But speaking of coming back, Hush is back? What? That is how this issue ends. Hush is back, and that is very, very crazy, and I am very, very excited to read how that continues. Bum. The number one spot of the week has to go to, okay? Come on, guys. You knew it had to go to this. It is going to the Combo Week X of Swords Week 10 finale. Oh my gosh. This is 3 comics. I'm trying to collect myself. 3 comics. First off, I'm gonna run through the credits quickly here. X-Men 15, written by Jonathan Hickman, drawn by Mahmoud Asrar, colors by Sonny Go. Excalibur 15, written by Teenie Howard, drawn by Mahmoud Asrar, Stefano Caselli, and colors by Sonny Go and Rachel Rosenberg. And X of Swords Destruction, number 1, written by Jonathan Hickman and Teenie Howard, drawn by Pepe Larraz, and colors by Marte Garcia. Whew. The last time I will have to do that, thank the lords. But okay, guys, it is the finale of X of Swords, and this is a big fucking deal, okay? And I'll get this out of the way. I won't bury the lead any longer. I mean, you could probably tell this by my reaction. This finale was very good. I really liked the finale of X of Swords here. So prepare for another 10-minute one. I'll try not to make it that long, but let's kick off with X-Men. So this issue, how would I describe this issue? It feels like the teapot starting to whistle is how I would describe it. Just to run through everything, Cyclops and Jean, they're saying fuck all this shit. Fuck all of this shit. And they want to go and just get Cable. They're pretty much, they want to go retrieve the team. And it kind of turns into actually a really cool scene where they are deliberating with the whole Quiet Council. And it's a great scene, great use of the 9-panel grids just for some really quick talking. And I think it's interesting how the whole hero and X-Men antics are being kind of voted down or voted against. They lose both things. They end up being told if they leave their seat, they will lose their seat. And if they open the gates, they will not reopen them, or they will close them off. But what's great about this scene is that Magneto and Xavier, they just want them to go anyway. They want Scott and Jean to just say fuck it and go. And that's exactly what they do. And that was a really cute scene. But apparently, like, X-Men is canceled, I guess. Cancel culture got another one. No, I mean, that was a bad joke. X-Men apparently is no longer. It is like what's the comic book word? Disassembled. Pretty much. Apparently they said they're not using the phrase X-Men anymore. We'll see how that kind of turns out. I'm sure that'll come back. But meanwhile, while all that's going on, shit is popping off in a little fight between Apocalypse and Annihilation. Apocalypse gets the kill shot on his wife. He like damn near guts her, but he chooses not to kill her. And unfortunately, she dives for the helm of Amenth, and bum. Next episode, Excalibur 15. This picks up right where that left off. When she puts on the helmet, she heals up completely. She kind of becomes Annihilation. I guess there's a little bit of a difference. When she's not wearing the helmet, she's Genesis, and when she has the helmet on, it's kind of a different person. We pick up right where that issue left off, and it is just an epic ass war. That's pretty much the only way I can describe it. I mean, there's this amazing page, Wolverine and Cypher and Magic and Apocalypse, Captain Britain. They're all just fighting a bunch of these guys. Storm is kicking so much ass. It's just pandemonium. Like I said, all the champions are involved. Bay, Cypher's wife, says, fuck all this shit. She goes to find her hubby. Saturnine, she says, fuck all this shit, and just decides to sit down and do a puzzle. A puzzle that is in the form of Captain Britain. And wouldn't you know it, Jubilee comes and brings the reinforcements with some angels or something. Don't ask me. I don't know what the whole deal is with the angels. You can trust Excalibur is going to probably fuck me up a little bit. Bay comes back with Cypher, and she has kind of decided to just take the side of the X-Men, which is pretty cool. And then, weirdly enough, we get the puzzle completed, and the Captain Britain Corps is back. I don't know why, but whatever. Excalibur stuff. Next episode, we can just move on. We don't have to think about all that. Next episode, before we get to it though, Destruction 1, I have to say, big shout out to Mahmoud Asrar. He did the majority of the interior arts on X-Men and Excalibur there. And he also did the cover of Excalibur, which is a really great cover, and I just love his art. He is super duper talented, one of the current GOATs, all that love and all that. So yeah, big shout out to him. Okay, back to the shit. First off, you open this comic up and you get an edgy ass Apocalypse quote. Okay, I will do a dramatic reading of it.
I will carry these burdens forever, and if not forever, until the day I die.
That is my best Apocalypse impression. But anyway, on the credits page, I actually have a big question. What the fuck happened to Solemn and White Sword? White Sword is apparently dead. I don't recall him dying in the previous 2 issues. In fact, he was in the last issue. And then Solemn wasn't question marked in the last issue. However, we haven't seen him since the challenges, so I guess he's just fucking gone rogue. But then getting into this issue, what could you expect? More epic ass fighting, and it's very epic. Like, don't get me wrong, this is some of the coolest fucking action I've seen in a comic in a very long time. And even more epic, the Britain Corps is fucking shit up too. But most importantly, and this is where shit gets really crazy, the fucking climax of it all. The gang, and I mean the whole ass gang, every X-Men, they finesse their way into wherever they're at, Avalon, the overworld. I don't even know at this point. They figure out their way in there through the star-based sword, giant sword in the sky. It's so fucking cool. And these 2 pages here, these 2 pages that show them burst into battle are some of the coolest pages I have seen in so long. Like, these pages are amazing. Total, what would you say, like your phone background material? It's just phenomenal. Pepe Larraz is just killing it. And what can you expect? Like I've been saying, more epic-ass fighting. It's just full war mode, and it's really exciting to read. But now we're actually getting into some deep fighting with Apocalypse and Annihilation. But meanwhile, summoners are summoning kaiju, and the X-Men, they trigger the starbase to bring a bunch of, I don't know, demons from the nether portal in the sky base. I don't know. I'm not reading Cable. I don't know what all this is. But the ending here is fucking gnarly. Okay, guys? So we are entering movie mode. Okay. We are definitely entering movie mode. Apocalypse, he struggles the mask off of Annihilation. And it harkens back to Annihilation, the event, where Nova rips out fucking Annihilus's heart. The panel looks just like that, but he rips the mask off, and then he puts it on. He cannot resist the fucking allure of it, and it springs itself onto him, and now he is Annihilation, not Apocalypse. And what he does is so fucking crazy. he gets control of Annihilation, and he fucking takes a knee and yields, thus yielding the point. Okay, because remember, this is a competition. We're 1919. He yields the point to Krakoa because he's Annihilation, technically, and Annihilation has lost, not Apocalypse. Wow. A truly fucking amazing scene. It was such a good scene. And afterwards, this is really cool. Saturnine just like wipes the board. Like literally, she orders dragons to just like bulldoze everything. And it's a really awesome moment. So now we're kind of evolving into the ending here, and Saturnine is giving a speech, and she's back on her fuck shit for some reason, and she decides that there needs to be a trade of hostages for some reason. So Genesis, speaking for Aurico, chooses Apocalypse, her hubby, and Apocalypse for Krakoa chooses the mutant island of Aurico. So G-Ass moved there, and I don't really know why he did that, but it seemed like a finesse. And so Apocalypse has a great quote at the end here where Scott asks him what he needs to tell Magneto and Xavier, and he just says, "Tell them I'll see them again someday," and it just kind of walks off into the sunset. And boom, that's pretty much the end. Really kind of crazy. We get a couple more pages here where there are, they talk about where all the swords go and all that. Saturnine, he does this whole thing about what she gained from this and how long her reign is to come. It's a whole thing. But that's it. I kind of can't believe that it's over. Wow, that was 10 weeks. 10 fucking weeks in the making. This was quite the wild ride. If anything, we can say that about X of Swords. That was a pretty wild ride. My anecdote about X of Swords is I almost didn't even read it. Funny enough, I kind of only committed myself to reading it, not only, but partially because of the podcast. I just wanted to follow along and kind of just stick with what was going on. And I told myself I'd give X Factor a shot, right? Because remember, part 2 of 22 was X Factor. And I was like, okay, I'll read this one. And if it's good, because of course I did read Creation. If the second part was good, I'd commit. And alas, it was very good. And here we are. I have I guess, spinning out of X of Swords, what's next? Some people are saying like Apocalypse is gone, like we won't see him anymore. I don't exactly know if that's true. I mean, I don't know if it's false, I guess. I mean, my only question is he claimed Aurico as Krakoa's like captor, I suppose. And so now Aurico and Krakoa are one. And so where did Apocalypse go? Because I thought he was going to Aurico. I don't know. Maybe he's going somewhere else. But another spinning out question too. Apparently Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain, Psylocke, whatever her name you choose to say, she is still dead at the moment. Which is actually also a pretty crazy thing. I think Excalibur is going to be an interesting series spinning out of this. Seeing how much the other world and all that stuff played a role in this event, Excalibur is going to be very interesting over the next couple weeks. And so that being said, what series will I be kind of keeping up with, if any? I don't really know. I'm low-key considering Cable. I think I might jump onto Cable and just maybe catch up. I missed, the first 4 issues. I can honestly probably find them still in the store. And if not, I think they're on the Marvel Comics app. So, I think I might check out Cable. We'll see. But that might be the only series that I really kind of spin out into this event because I'm already reading Wolverine, X-Men, and X-Force. I don't know how many more X titles I want to pile on. Hellions was really cool. That would be one I would want to look into. I think that one's going to see the biggest boost in sales after this. But yeah, wow. Final thoughts. Fucking phenomenal. I really thought this event was really good. The middle dipped a little bit. There was a little bit of an ebb and flow. The beginning was really solid. I liked the whole lead up. The beginning of the tournament was and then, but it dipped up at the very end, the last 2 weeks. The last 6 issues were really strong. So yeah, I guess we just have the reign of X to expect, whatever the fuck that means. But whatever it does mean, I'm so excited. And this event was awesome, so gotta read it. X of Swords, how dare I say, a 10 out of 10. And so that is all I have today. Oh my god. Fucking A. Apologies for my language, but it is 4:30 in the morning. I need to stop doing this to myself. Why am I doing these late night podcasts? There's no point. But I don't know. There is a point. I like to just do them and have them knocked out. So I can just wake up in the morning and just start editing them. I don't have to wake up early, go record, and then go, edit and all that. I get to just go home, crash, wake up, edit the fuck out of this bitch, and get it out. Oh my gosh. See, I'm 4:30 a.m. delusional right now. But okay, post show, what's coming out next week? We are getting Batman number 104. That ought to be awesome. We're also getting Thor issue number 10. Return of the Prey arc. I can't wait. Daredevil issue 25. What? We just got 24 in this week, but hey, we're getting 25 right now. Strange Adventures issue number 7. I'm very excited for that. DC's Dead Planet number 6. Hey, penultimate issue alert. Savage Avengers issue number 15. That ought to be awesome. We are also getting Batman Catwoman issue number 1. I did not know that was coming out next week, so that ought to be exciting. Black Widow issue number 4. Very pumped for that. Then the Union number 1. The Union? Well, you might ask, well, what's the Union? Well, the next comic I was going to say, King in Black, issue number 1. I'm fucking hype. You're fucking hype. We're all hype. We all should be hype for that. And so that is what comes out next week, but I will not take up any more time. I need to go to bed. I am making poor decisions as I record this podcast. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you made it all the way here through this ridiculous ramble fest that was this podcast. And I hope I didn't sound too tired. If I did, be sure to let me know and let me know what comics you liked from this last week. So anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, see ya, bye.